Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Saints podcast. I'm Josh.
I'm Victoria.
And how are you today?
We're just going to dive right into it, aren't we?
Yeah.
Okay. Honestly?
Yeah, honestly.
How much did I want to record this podcast today?
Okay, it's gorgeous outside. It's going to rain and storm in 5 hours.
Yeah.
For the next eternity. So it was a beautiful weekend. We were outside a lot this weekend. You don't really want to come back indoors and sit in front of a screen after that.
Yeah, this morning just threw me off. And usually we're also like really planned, and I feel like throughout the weeks we have been storing up ideas and like, oh my gosh, hey, I have the perfect thing for us to talk about, or hey, I really want to expound on this, and then we'll have a conversation about it and we plan out our episode. And we had a couple things that we had brought up this week, but nothing was really like,
there's like 8 ideas
giving me that spark that like, yeah, that's the thing that I want to talk about. And I never want to be redundant.
Yeah.
So I do feel like we have creative processes and we talk about them all the time, and we have a way of doing things, and we have an audience, and we have all these things that like, I don't want to sound like we're just saying the same thing all the time. So I was just feeling incredibly uninspired. And then the sun is shining. It's beautiful. And I just want to go play outside with my kids.
I mean, going and playing catch sounds pretty incredible.
Yeah. And so I think what is kind of cool, though, is obviously we still showed up. But beyond that, I would rather be honest about how we're feeling and then be able to build from there and have an honest conversation about it. Because everything we were talking about this morning of the few of the ideas, I was just like, this just feels so unauthentic, and we're
Heavy, deep.
Yeah. And maybe because we like did a fun episode and things have been kind of lighthearted, I was like, I'm just not feeling it. Like, I don't want to be so serious. I want to like hang out, and like talk.
You don't
like,
want to be professor-esque?
No, I don't, because I don't know it all, and I don't want to come across like I know it all. And I think we're on the same page, but I just wanted to make sure that, I don't know, that when we're recording, it just feels real, I guess. And so rather than trying to force a real conversation, we kind of just talked about like, why don't we actually talk about the fact that I didn't feel it this morning, Like,
we also had good conversation and good into the morning like flow. Mm-hmm. I had a great phone call with a client, and it was more personal and like super chill. Yeah. I took half of my call outside.
Because it's beautiful.
I did a Zoom call from my phone outside instead of in front of a screen, because it's just, I don't know, but I think that's part of the beauty in being a creative is you can, the work has to get done. Mm-hmm. Things have to get done, but you can rearrange your day a little bit and rearrange and pivot from what you're going to do in the morning versus the afternoon, or today and tomorrow. You can sometimes pivot some of that and be able to enjoy a beautiful sunny day.
Yeah, I just, I don't know. I just wanted this to feel real. And so I think just talking about like the fact that, I mean, we can kind of turn it into more of a conversation about what does showing up actually look like. I mean, this isn't, I love this. Like, I don't ever dread doing this. And that's not how I feel this morning. I'm not being like apathetic. I don't dread doing it, anything like that. But I do have a few other things, not just being outside, not just playing outside.
Wait, you're not going to spend the rest of the day outside?
No. My kids are going to beg me to jump on the trampoline with them. We'll see what happens. I do have other projects I also want to work on. And I think because it's Monday and I'm like so excited to dive into the week and get some things checked off the list. Anyways, all of that. But I mean, that does kind of beg the question, like, why is it important to show up when you don't feel like doing it? And I think on the surface, we know the answer, right? It's important because it's important. Like, you have to show up in life and
you're not going to go anywhere if you don't show up.
Yeah, you have to show up.
Consistency.
Yeah, and I think that there's also like this idea of, I don't know, I'm just not in the mood, and so I'm not going to do it. And how many things do you like I'm never in the mood to do them, but things have to get done. Like,
Right.
if that were the case, you'd never.
Laundry.
Yeah, I don't feel like doing
Invoicing.
laundry, but I'm 2 loads in this morning. Yeah, I don't want to invoice clients. I'd rather it just be passion projects that I get to do for fun.
Right.
And like, so if you rely on your mood, you never will accomplish anything.
Mm-mm.
And we have to kind of, I think, get rid of that idea that being a creative or doing something, accomplishing something has to be this like huge aha, like I am in my element creative moment.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't always feel that way. Now that we're a couple minutes in, I'm like,
let's go.
Okay, let's go. Let's talk about it. But 5 minutes ago, I was like, okay, push record. Let's just like see what happens, because
Give me the mic.
I didn't know.
You don't know this, but on my very professional call this morning with a client who is quickly becoming a friend, we talked about how we all have, this is so bizarre because when we were talking after that call about pivoting this episode, I didn't even think about this and put it together, but we talked about we all have a amputation. We all have a struggle of something, whether it's mentally or physically or whatever. You have to make the choice to get out of bed, and you have to make the choice to open the computer, and you have to make the choice to pick up the microphone.
Yeah.
You have to make the choice to get up and speak. Like all of those things. And that was in my phone call this morning.
It's funny.
And now it's hitting me like
Yeah.
my day was set up to pivot
Yeah.
because I got out of bed and just started going, and you just keep walking through it.
I think that we also think that like, okay, when inspiration hits, I'm just gonna like go. I feel inspired. I'm gonna move. I'm gonna groove, whatever. And like, you can't just be inspired 24/7. That's just not the way it works. You'll have
That's
creative
exhausting
highs.
too.
It is exhausting. And actually, we did have a couple weeks where we were like feeling very inspired about a project. And at the end of it, we were both like, my brain is on complete overload and I feel it shutting down. And so there's that too. And I think that inspiration doesn't breed inspiration. I think that rest breeds inspiration, and just showing up breeds inspiration. Consistency breeds inspiration. And this is the proof right here that like we made a choice. We're not putting it off. We're going to record. We enjoy our conversations. We enjoy talking about these things in this way. And so, okay, now it's flowing. Now it's going. And like, it's actually happening real time. And it's not just like, oh yeah, this one time this cool thing happened to me, but like, no, this is a real time thing that's happening on this podcast. And, you know, I'm thankful that we made the choice to not put it off until tomorrow, because honestly, if it were raining outside, I'd probably be like, meh, I'm so in a gloomy
You would get
mood.
a podcast and we would talk like this about how, no, I'm just kidding. It's also, as we're sitting here and we are in it and we've been uninspired, I think about the last 2 weeks and conversations I've had with people as I've been out. And we were sitting in a meeting last week and we brought up some stuff that we had just recorded on, but it's reinforcing these things in us and they're fresh in our minds. So when people are saying, I'm actually going, other creatives are saying, I'm going through this or I'm in this place or whatever, not to be like a shameless plug, but it's, hey, we literally just recorded 45 minutes talking about that.
Yeah.
You should really go check it out.
Yeah.
And people have said it's really helpful and it's inspiring to know that I'm not the only one who felt stuck in this rut and not wanting to start, not wanting to get out of bed and go, not wanting to hit play or not wanting to hit record. Like, we all have that. We're all human and that's part of it. But we love this podcast.
Yeah.
We love these conversations. We love you people.
Yeah. And what we're building. And I'm excited. And I always wanted a podcast. And so I actually did think earlier, like, how silly would it be for me to not show up and do my best to like do this when I actually for years was just like waiting on the right moment to have a podcast. And now it's here. Why wouldn't I show up? Yeah. Okay. So in the spirit of we showed up, we're going to talk about that. It's important to show up. But we can't really build like a whole podcast episode around that because I think we've also kind of talked about it a little bit before.
Yeah.
So let's do something kind of fun and talk about, you ready? Our most unhinged creative ideas from the past. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to really think back into all of the facets of creativity that we have explored over the years. Not just we, you did stuff before we got married. And yeah, so we've had some crazy, not crazy. Okay.
We have tried a lot of things.
Tried a lot of things. We have dipped our toe into some creative avenues that maybe weren't long lasting. I mean, we could never sustain them. We didn't have the knowledge base or whatever. I mean, it wasn't the right time. Somebody else was already doing it better for whatever reason. We didn't keep doing that.
They might have been half-baked ideas or a tenth of a baked idea.
Yeah.
A lot of times. But I think some of the things that I can think of have led us to where we are.
I agree.
So they might have been complete and utter failures in the moment, in the waste of time. But we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I think that they've kind of positioned us for some of the things we're doing now and that we're building now.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we can laugh about them now and we can say that they are failures or whatever. But ultimately, yes, it all led us here to what we're doing. And I think some of it just like probably naturally fizzled out or we became uninterested or one of the clothing businesses that we had wanted to do before, like we needed so much money to like order all the clothes and all the t-shirts and all the things. And like, that just wasn't going to happen.
We did order one that I can remember. We ordered, do you want to jump into some of these things?
For it. Yeah. Okay.
So we had this lame brain. I will take full responsibility. I had this lame brained idea for a company called Ometu. Mm-hmm. And it was, God, just talking about this is so stupid. Zero fear. Metu is fear in Latin, and I put a zero or an O in front of it. Talking about this now, it's so lame brain. Anyways, we spent hundreds of dollars buying t-shirts to be screen printed.
Yeah.
V-neck t-shirts. Uh-huh. With a thin screen print.
I just want you guys to really soak that in. V-neck t-shirts, okay?
And this is years ago.
Yeah. They were in at some point.
Yeah. Not deep V-necks, but V-necks nonetheless. And we got these. We drove an hour out of the way to go pick them up.
Oh my gosh. We got them screen printed. We actually did the thing.
From kind of a shady warehouse, but they were really cool people. Yeah. But so we did it. Mm-hmm. So yay, go us. We learned how to like source stuff and find people and create in all of the pieces and get them to the vendor, which has been wildly important and helpful in what we've been able to offer to clients. So there is good that comes from it.
There was gain, yes.
But why don't you talk about how we promoted this?
Okay, so first of all, what a weird season of life. I was pregnant, and so...
How pregnant?
I was very pregnant. I was at least 5-6 months pregnant. And when we were really doing this, driving all over to pick stuff up and...
Dead of summer.
And no, it was like springtime. And we'd had a friend that we met at church, and he was super cool looking. He'd been a model or like was trying to model. Coolest guy, honestly. Like,
he wore two different shoes all the time.
Yes. And I was just like, this guy. So we borrowed a camera from a friend, and it was just like a Canon camera. And we asked him if he would like wear the t-shirts and the hats. We did get hats made also. Hats. And we started doing some jewelry also.
Oh my God. Okay, let's finish the wine and then we can go into the jewelry. Okay.
So he was so gracious, you guys. Like, honestly, we didn't pay him. I mean, I think we gave him some stuff, like, and
I think we bought him coffee, and
Like, let him keep the stuff or
hey,
something?
can I have a shirt?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't really care. We were just hanging out, whatever.
Yeah.
And he wanted the photos that he could use to promote himself.
But also, I'm the one that took photos. Okay.
Are you a photographer?
No. What were we thinking? We knew so many photographers. Why couldn't we just get one of our friends to, like, somebody would have done it for us. Anyways, here we are. We went downtown. I mean, I don't even know if we still have these pictures. I'm sure we do.
Are you sure this wasn't summer? It was so hot.
Oh, I'm sure it was. It was Nashville. But this guy jumped off of things and, like, stood up against things. We went right downtown, all this industrial stuff, and
surprised Metro didn't come ask what the heck we were doing.
We went down by the water. I mean, I want to say they weren't the worst pictures, but I know that if I went back and looked at them now, they would be so bad. And in the moment, I was like, oh, this is so cool. And
this is edgy.
What did we do with those pictures, babe?
Nothing.
Like,
what did we do with those t-shirts?
Nothing. Like, they literally, we had so many of them for a long time, and I think you finally got rid of them because
I think they're gone.
Yeah. Anyways.
Nobody wanted, like, I couldn't give them to people. No, I'm not going to. There were a couple bartenders and business owners of bars in Nashville who I gave a shirt to, and they wore regularly.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it wasn't the worst logo. It wasn't the worst anything. It just was, we had absolutely no idea what we were doing, how to do it, like, what were we going to do with these pictures? We had no path at all. And
we ordered t-shirts one size. All one size.
So that didn't work. Anyways, in the process, so I'm going to move on to the next thing because it's all kind of tied together. You got really passionate about jade jewelry. And
yeah,
you did.
I did.
So we started making these bracelets, like men's bracelets of, like, dark green jade. They were stretchy bracelets. We made a ton of them, and they were actually really nice. We went and got all the professional stuff to make the jewelry. Like, they weren't cheaply.
I want to say that I would still wear one now, but
I don't know. They were nice. They're just not still in fashion, and we wore them a lot, actually.
We sold some of them.
So that was part of the photo shoot too. He got some bracelets.
Yep.
We did sell some bracelets, and in the process, I learned how to pearl knot,
which is a very hard skill.
It's really intricate.
It's very time consuming. This is, like, pearl knotting, for people who may not know, is what, like, high end pearls are strung as. So, like, real pearls from the ocean that you buy in a jewelry store, the little knots that go in between each are dang near impossible to tie without these two.
I got really good. We actually took it to a jewelry store, and they were, like, surprised that we'd done it. And so I sold a couple like, big chunky necklaces that had the pearl knot on them, and, like, it was, we were doing something. We weren't, like, doing nothing. It was happening, but it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't something that was gonna, like, were we gonna open a jewelry store? Like, there was no clear path forward.
There wasn't a path. There wasn't a strategy. There wasn't a business plan. But I think the bracelets we were selling for, like, $30 to $50 depending, and the necklaces were,
I think I sold one for, like, $120. Like,
so
it was,
it's not nothing. We still probably lost way too much money on
sure we did. We probably still have some of the beads left. Okay, so that was probably our first big, like, we were married and, like, doing something together. And then there was, what are you gonna say?
The IT company.
Okay, that was actually the first one. Yeah.
Was it before?
I think so.
We had a friend who built websites, and I had stopped doing IT, or no, I was still doing IT, and we were going to start our own company, and we were going to consult with people and do creative solutions to help your business structure, organize, process, create an online presence, all these things. How'd that go?
Well, we're doing something different now, so clearly not very well. But how much stuff did we order? Business cards. We had mugs. We had, like, posters. We had, I think we had, like, a banner, like a roll-up banner.
We did.
And, I mean, in all fairness, I think Vistaprint, like, sent us a bunch of, like, stuff.
Oh, yeah. We paid, like, $50 for a box, and they...
Anyways, it was called MCS, McKenna Creative Solutions. It does not exist because...
It never
It
existed.
never really existed.
It looked like it came out of Microsoft Office
Oh my
2002.
gosh. So funny. Yeah. So, okay, there's another one. Next one I'm going to bring up is something, little thing called fundamentals.
Oh, that was
That was all
fundamentally
you.
flawed.
I was not involved in that. But here's what I do remember is you made the logo so that in the center of the word it said amen. And you were so proud of it.
There are sometimes
Fundamentals says amen in the center of the word.
I'm a different person. I forgot about that. There are times where you think that you have a God idea.
Yeah.
Maybe you should run it by a few people.
Maybe get some direction on that.
Run it by me. We'll.
This one, I'm gonna take all of the heat on this one. Okay, I thought I was an artist for a while, and I would
Picasso.
Yeah, and I would take all of the canvases in our house, so like just stuff you get at like TJ Maxx, and I would like sand it down, like get everything off of it, and then I would paint over it, and I just really thought that these were like the best thing. There was an artist that I really loved that we actually had purchased art from.
Yeah.
And I was convinced that some of the other stuff he did, like I could totally mimic it. I could recreate it. So we went to the art store. We got all this stuff, all the supplies, all the same stuff that he uses, and brought it home. And I went to town and I repainted every piece of art that was in our apartment. And yeah, I don't think I actually brought them to Michigan with us.
I'm pretty sure that those got thrown away.
There are a few
ago.
that I actually really did like, but there's just no way. Like I guess I thought I was gonna make art for a living at that point.
Do you remember painting over the ship on the waves that I painted?
Did I ruin your art?
Do you remember how bad that was? I was so thankful that you covered that up so I didn't have to see that ever again.
I think I graciously let it hang on the wall for a few months before we painted over it.
We thought we were creative at the time.
Yeah, we were being creative. Again, it all leads somewhere, okay?
It's exploring things. What are you good at and what are you not good at?
Well,
stay in your lane.
There is also something to be said for like having a hobby. I mean, we all do that. Ours just tend to be a little, I don't know. We have a hard time, I think, having hobbies that we don't want to like build a business plan on.
It's like, well, that was a waste of time.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I mean, we did like try and buy and sell stuff for a while. I think everybody was kind of doing that.
But when like mid-century modern was a thing,
yeah,
we would go to garage sales or find stuff and try and repurpose it or just flip it and sell it. And
I feel like I really need to drive home the point that we were living in an apartment.
Yes.
And there was absolutely no space for us to be doing that at all. The last place we lived, we did actually flip a vintage desk, and that was cool because we got it for free.
Okay.
And
that was wildly cool. This was like an old heavy like journalist desk that had a typewriter.
It was a secretary's desk that had a typewriter nook.
Slide drawer.
Yeah, and like the table that the typewriter would actually be screwed into, like lift it up. Yeah. It was so cool. It was. I wish we.
You did an incredible job on that.
That was really fun. Anyways, these are just a few of the wild hairs that we've had throughout the years. They are very silly, and when we think back on them now and like think about where we are and how we've actually built something now, right, that feels like solid. It has a firm foundation. It's something that we rely on. And so to think back on the things that were kind of like just, ideas that were kind of blowing in the wind, and we would like try and follow them for a while, and they seem so pointless, but I do truly believe that they served a purpose.
They did serve a purpose. What if we go through the ones that we just said and we pull out something that we use today or how we do things differently today because of trying that?
Yeah. I mean, I think you made a really great point with the t-shirt company. Like
Yeah.
we are constantly sourcing things now for clients
Yeah.
and, helping people like
even just placement of screen printing
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
like knowing where to put stuff so that you can do mock-ups now, and you're more of, like we talked last week, an asset to your client or your customer.
Yeah.
Knowing how to get them, what are turnaround times, what looks good, what doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Study what's in style.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's definitely something to be learned from everything that we've done.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was wasted.
No.
It just didn't make us.
Maybe it's not something we use or do today,
Right.
but like the pearl knotting, there are things that you have learned to do in intricacies of different things.
Yeah, that's
and like
true.
slowing down, taking time to do stuff that maybe you wouldn't have done before.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, even I decorated cookies and all of that. That's very intricate. That's very like detailed handwork.
Okay, that was
all
not
of
a
that.
failure. You're
No, that was not a
really
failure.
freaking
I
good
actually
at that.
still really love doing that. And would have built a whole business on that probably if this wasn't what we were doing.
What's the Instagram for that? You should share that one.
I'm good. People can find me. I think this all kind of leads to like the same thing we started with, though, is just showing up, just continuing to go. I mean, in the midst of some of our crazy ideas, we had full-time jobs and we were working for corporate America.
Right.
We were doing, things here and there. Like none of this was ever a full-time gig. And it took us that long, like our entire marriage, our life together, even before we met, both of us trying to do creative things. And it took us that long to like find our niche, right? And to do it the right way and to trust it enough to say, I'm actually going to quit my job. I'm actually going to go all in on this, and we hadn't felt that way about anything that we'd done previous to our full-time business now. So, I'm thankful for everything that we learned and that we kept showing up.
Yeah. All the time.
Yeah. I think it's just funny to like go into a day like today where I was probably the one, let's be honest. It was just kind of like, maybe we don't podcast today. And I never said it. I mean, I did have a moment where I was like, should we just wait until tomorrow?
I don't think it's fair to say that you didn't want a podcast today. You didn't want to sit and have a deep, serious conversation because that's not the mood you're in.
Yeah.
And as a creative, you can pick and choose what you do in the morning versus the afternoon, today versus tomorrow. You can flip that a little bit. You can take 2 hours and go outside today, and when it's dark outside tonight, you can stay up a little later and work. And so I think just knowing, okay, this has to get done. This needs to be done. This is something that's important to me, but I am feeling like I need to do this. And sometimes there's just so much on your brain that doing something that takes more brain power or more time or more intricate detail needs to be pushed off to later until you can get everything out of your head, and then you can do everything clearly and get it done more efficiently.
I think there's also a way of approaching what you have in front of you from where you're at. Like, we could have forced something serious out of this podcast. We could have said, nope, we made a plan. We had a thing that we wanted to talk about, and that's what we're going to do. And instead we went, okay, wait a second. We're not feeling like that.
Right.
We're not actually interested in talking about that. So what would be an interesting thing to talk about?
Right.
And I think that you can also do that in your work to a certain extent. I'm sure there's some times that it doesn't work, but you can actually approach a project, a design, a template, or whatever it is that you're working on, and say, hey, instead of trying to like pull myself out of this, let me just like lean in and see what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that if you really pay attention to like, where's my thought process at? What kind of flow can I get myself in?
Right.
What kind of music do I need to put on to like take me there? I think that's easier than trying to pull yourself out and go a different direction.
Yeah.
And I think that if you're trying to force something, it really just, you end up waking up the next day going, I don't like anything that I created today, or whatever. And so, I don't know. I'm thankful that we just like kind of pushed forward on it wasn't a rut, but just like the moment, the feeling, the whatever. And I know that going into the rest of today and the things that I do need to check off my list, this is the place I'm going to work from. I'm kind of in a goofy mood today. I'm going to put on specific music. I'm going to act silly with my kids.
Right.
And I'm going to enjoy the fact that the sun is shining, even though I think it's getting cloudy. And I'm just going to lean into that.
Right.
Versus like, okay, I have to be serious. I have to get things done. Because I do. They have to be done no matter what. So why try and force a mood I'm not in?
But that mindset is so important too. It has to be done. The order doesn't really matter unless there's a deadline or something. The list has to get done, but what order you do it in can be, I mean, for me, I like to get the hardest thing out of the way first and slowly start to like go into it. Today is probably going to be a little different where I'm going to jump into the rest of my day and do the easiest thing and then do it outside, sit with my laptop outside and work on it. And when it starts to be rainy, I'll go inside and I'll hunker down, put on some music and get through it.
Yeah, I guess if there's anything that I would want anybody to take away from this is just to keep showing up. You know, especially if you are working for yourself, it can be easy to just give up when things get frustrating and not just give up, but like get more frustrated. You kind of start to spiral. And I think that just showing up, choosing to do the work, choosing to commit, you know, this recording today was a decision made out of like, I made a commitment and I'm going to do it. And so, and kind of the also idea of I prayed for this. So I need to steward it well.
I'm going to be thankful for what I have.
Yeah.
And if you are having a hard time pushing forward, just starting whatever, throw your laptop in a bag and go to a coffee shop or go to a park. Get out of your element. If you're, I don't want to get up today, get your butt out of bed, grab your laptop and go sit on the porch. Go to a park, go to a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And I've heard things with people starting as an entrepreneur or a creative, and they're like, I don't have any money to go do it. It does not cost any money to walk to the park or to go sit on the porch. And with getting out of bed, with just getting started, me too, I do it. We have so many excuses for, this. It's not an excuse.
All right, calm down. You're going to make me feel guilty for not going to the gym this morning.
We stand in our own way.
Yeah,
and
you're right.
Sometimes take yourself out of your element and get there. If we had a schedule where we could, anytime that feeling inspired, we could sit down and record a podcast, I guarantee you that I would do it.
Yeah.
I would go sit down and record 3 times a day if that's what I felt inspired.
Yeah.
But that's not the reality of living now. But those things there make me think outside of the box that, oh, wow, that thing that was more out of my element maybe just isn't the norm for me. And it's something that I enjoy, but it's becoming more normal and I want to do it more.
Yeah. Well, I think that we just want to encourage you guys to show up in your work, in your family, in your life, and in your blessings. And when you feel like it and when you don't feel like it, keep showing up.
Keep
If
showing up.
you're struggling showing up, DM us and we'll
encourage you. I love it. This actually was...
It's turned out to be fun.
This was fun.
This will be an easy listen for those of you who look at the 55-minute mark on the other podcasts and
I don't want to listen to anybody that long. You know, like, follow, share this. If this encouraged you, share it with a friend.
Yeah.
If this was helpful, share it with a friend. We would really appreciate that. And we'll see you next week.
Talk to you later.
Have a great day.